This is Northport Now, where we bring you everything happening in and around our city. From fire safety to data centers to the future of Warm Mineral Springs, we've got you covered. Here's what you need to know this week. The City of Northport's outdoor burning ban has been rescinded and is no longer in effect. We've entered a more typical seasonal weather pattern, and the extraordinary fire hazard no longer exists. While the burn ban has been lifted, we still recommend extreme caution with any outdoor fire. Conditions remain dry, and it only takes a small spark to create a large incident. Northport remains under a Phase 3 watering restriction from the Southwest Florida Water Management District due to an ongoing drought condition and lack of rainfall throughout the region. The restriction is in place through October 1st, and limited watering hours apply to all homes and businesses in Northport that are on city or well water. Want to learn more about how to prevent fires in your home and neighborhood? Tune in to our fire safety and fire prevention webinar happening Friday, July 31st at noon. A few simple precautions can make a big difference in preventing fires and keeping your family safe. Join our Northport University online webinar and learn how we can build a safer Northport together. You can register to attend at northportfl.gov. And don't worry if you can't make it, the webinar will be available later for on-demand viewing. Big things are happening at Warm Mineral Springs Park. The City Commission recently approved funding for the renovation of the historic buildings at the park. This is the culmination of many years of discussions since the Warm Mineral Springs Master Plan was put together in 2019. At every stage, the goal has been to respect the historic character of this property while improving safety, infrastructure, daily operations, and the visitor experience. The community is invited to officially launch the renovations with a hard hat ceremony at 8:30 a.m. Monday, July 27th at the park. We hope you can join us to kick off this project. It's time for more Commission meeting highlights, where City Manager Jerome Fletcher takes us through the latest City Commission decisions and what they mean for the public. Here to tell us more about the Commission's recent meeting is City Manager Jerome Fletcher. Jerome, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, so the big topic of discussion this week at the meeting was about data centers. Obviously, it's a hot topic all over the state and all over the country, but the Commission talked about data centers and how we're going to move forward here in Northport. Can you kind of catch us up on how that discussion went and where we're going from here?
Absolutely. It's a large discussion, but we'll try to sort of break it down into some terms that we can all sort of just follow. In the beginning, when you look at our code allows for data centers to be built in the city. They're light industrial. They provide a value that we have said in our code that they can do it by law. So they purchase land, developers, and that's just what they want to do. But we all know that what we have heard about data centers are concerns that relate back to whether it's the noise, air pollution, water, electricity, aesthetics, and those kinds of things. So this developer has purchased property where it would be having a minimal impact on all of those things, in addition to the technology that is there now that has not been there in years past that have gained them that reputation. But the overall goal is not to say today if it's the right thing or wrong thing to do for the community. It's to have an open mind to get more knowledge and information so that the commission can make a better decision at a later date. And that means working with the developer. That means working through them in order to make sure that what we want in our community is what they want to bring to our community. And there's just too many unanswered questions right now to say yes or no. But the long-term community benefits are tremendous, and having the concerns to be mitigated would be absolutely necessary. So the conversation yesterday was the very first public conversation that the commission had. It was by no means them saying yes or no, but it is them saying we need more time to think about this and see if we can figure it out.
All right, so there's going to be a lot more conversation about that topic coming up.
Yes, there will be, which should be good because, you want to make sure, and, no one wants to build something here, even if it is allowed by law in an area where they're not wanted. And we don't want someone to build something here that we don't want here for concern of our citizens, because our residents, their health and their wealth should be the main things that we're concerned about. So anything that would harm them physically, we have to remove. And we've already had the state give one new law that says that the electrical rate increase or the price increase from a data center cannot be put on to regular citizens. So even the state, even the city leadership, everyone's looking at it to make sure that it's the right thing in the right place at the right time.
Well, we look forward to more conversation about that and lots more to come. Another discussion with the commission was about activity centers 6 and 10. These are two big areas of the city where we're trying to encourage future development and the right kind of development. And they took some action and some steps with creating a special district. Can you explain for the average person what that looks like and what the goal is there?
Yes. So activity centers 6 and 10 out into the east side of our city are undeveloped, and they need infrastructure. And first of all, I don't have to tell you, we all know that we can't borrow to get the infrastructure there ourselves. So in order to get this area activated, you really need to get going on something that will allow infrastructure studies to begin out there to figure out where and how you're going to make the most impact. So creating the district allows you to go assess the people who will be using that land and let them pay for the development as it begins out there, so that the entire city is not paying for one particular portion of the city. They're sort of paying for themselves as they go. And that's the most fair and equitable way for it to be done. And once you get that information, and then you can start working with the people to figure out how to get that area activated. Now, from our standpoint, that means that someone who wants to do business out there will be bringing the funds to put in the infrastructure themselves. That is ideal. And based on our borrowing situation, that's pretty much the only option that we can start with. But there are people who are willing to come out there because of the opportunity of the land that's out there. And again, making sure that you don't displace any of the people that are there. I think there's 2 homes in Activity Center 10 that would have to be addressed. It's not well populated at all, but it's an area of the city that would really make a huge impact on the future of this city going forward. So it is something that is very, very important, but we're in the early steps of it, but we will be transparent and keeping the community along every step of the way.
Right. I know there's a very detailed process and a lot of public involvement to come with that process. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last thing I wanted to talk about was a discussion about the tax collector. They had started and reached out some conversations with the city about a property that they might be interested in for a future facility here in Northport. Where did that conversation end up, and what's to come with that?
Absolutely. So Mike Moran, tax collector, he's just like we are and a lot of other people are. They are struggling for space for their needs, and their footprint inside of City Hall is very small. And, they really need a bigger area to service the citizens of Northport. So it's a twofold situation where we need them to be bigger, but we don't want them to go into a different area of the city because we want that presence here on our campus. So he was committed to staying here on our campus because this site works for him as well. So looking at City Green, the proposal that we received was an outline of a footprint that was a little larger than we probably thought, and some parking might have been affected as we talked about yesterday. But I believe that once we talk to him either about a reduction of size on that piece of property that is adjacent to the Mullins Center, or going down to where the temporary fire team and staff and equipment are being housed while they build Station 81 could work well for them. But, I think some of the concern has been, well, we shouldn't, sell city property. We shouldn't sell. Well, we're not even close to knowing whether or not they want to sell. They want a long ground lease, for a very discounted price. All of those things are to be decided. If we don't want to sell the property, you don't have to sell the property and still make the project work. It's all about, does the project work for them, for us, and for the citizens? And is it the right thing to do to get us the best value for what we're trying to accomplish?
Thank you for explaining that. And thank you for being here again. And we look forward to talking to you after the next commission meeting.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
You can visit northportfl.gov/meetings to view the agendas for upcoming meetings or watch videos of any meeting you missed. We'll be bringing you more highlights after the next commission meeting. Thanks for tuning in to Northport Now. Be sure to check out the show notes for links and more details on everything we covered today. Have a great week, Northport. And don't forget to stay informed, stay engaged, and stay connected.